Hi, everyone, and welcome to episode 2 of Destination Context. Last time we talked about our travel report and all the interesting findings with YouTube and how context works for travel brands. This time we're really excited to talk about Silverpush Mirrors for TikTok. It's our brand new contextual intelligence solution for advanced TikTok targeting. And in this episode, we're going to talk through first the TikTok landscape and why it's so important for brands to be on there. And then number 2, what Silverpush is doing differently when it comes to running advertising campaigns on TikTok with contextual intelligence. So first, I'm going to hand this over to Allie so she can break down the TikTok landscape and we'll go from there.
Amazing. Thank you, Blaze. TikTok targeting is a real tongue twister. Amazing. So we like to refer to TikTok as the ultimate playground for brands. There's over 1 billion active users on TikTok who are spending 95 minutes on average per day. So the combination of people being very active on this app and then also the absolutely pervasive nature of this app on people's devices makes it a great source for brands to find new sources for revenue, new pockets of interest, and it's also where conversations are happening that shape trends and also increase likelihood for purchase decisions. So what's pretty incredible, to me at least, is that 51% of global consumers have discovered a new brand or product on social media in the last 6 months. So for really any brand, it is so important to be placing your ads where they are most relevant to find these consumers who are actively seeking new products and different brands. So we call TikTok the ultimate playground for brands. There's over 1 billion active users who are spending 95 minutes per day on average on TikTok. That is a lot of scrolling. Something to note here is that 74% of TikTok users are using it as a search engine, which is pretty incredible. You know, it's almost replacing Google because people know they can find the trendiest, the newest, the best next thing that they're looking for.
And it's kind of video first, right?
Exactly, yeah, and it captures your attention. And clearly, if you're spending 95 minutes a day on TikTok, you're already on TikTok. Yeah. So when you have a question or you want to find the bar to go to this weekend, you're going to search best bar in Brooklyn, you know? And then with those 95 minutes, that quickly turns into 12.4 hours a day spent on TikTok 12.4 hours spent on TikTok per week.
Some people probably are spending that much a day, though.
I would bet. Wait till TikTok gets on CTV, then we're screwed. And we also like to say that, TikTok plus context helps bridge what we call the aspiration gap. Thank you, Wark, for that term. But essentially that means that we're using context, we're able to find that pocket of difference between what a user says they want and what they're actually wanting or consuming. And so apps like TikTok, they're a very personal experience because their algorithms are so geared towards the individual. So because of that, when you're able to capture all the data that we are able to see on TikTok, we're able to close that aspiration gap and make sure that you're reaching the audience that is most tuned in and actually wanting to research and learn about your product or brand. All right, Blaze, back to you.
Cool, yeah, and thank you for that overview. I'm always shocked by how much time people spend on social media.
Oh my God, it's staggering. It is staggering.
Yeah, and I think TikTok is a unique experience because it's mobile, it's video first, and people really are that active on it. They're kind of becoming, it is like you said, their default browser in a lot of ways. And so with that in mind, when we built Silverpush Mirrors for TikTok, we really wanted to build it around 3 different pillars, and it was strategy, automation, and insights. And what we're trying to do with TikTok is apply our contextual intelligence to the TikTok advertising campaigns in general in order to drive better relevance for brands as well as brand safety, but also better relevance for the consumer, which drives better results at the end of the day for the brand itself. Because as Ali said, with so much time spent, it doesn't mean people are watching the videos very often. It means they're scrolling endlessly looking for the most relevant thing to them in that moment. So if your videos aren't relevant, they're going to skip your ad completely and your money goes to waste. Just like YouTube, but a mobile format, which is even harder in a lot of ways.
Right, it's even more important to be relevant and be showing up in a contextually relevant way.
Exactly, and TikTok has native advertising tools. What we wanted to think through was, could we create a contextual ad solution that brings those things up another level. So you're actually anticipating what people want. As Ali was mentioning, the aspiration gap, you really want to be aligned with what people are doing, not what they think they're going to do. And
or
that's
what a brand thinks they're going to do too, right?
Right.
Based on a demographic or anything
Exactly,
like that,
exactly.
age. Yeah.
Right. And so with your traditional targeting, you're going to be targeted by keywords and hashtags and demographics. What we're saying is, what if we had a platform that allowed you to target by the context at the moment? And so there's 3 different pieces to that. Number one, we have built this platform to help advertisers strategize with a triple layered contextual model. And that is broken down into 3 different targeting layers. The tactic, which is generally a content category aligned with the campaign goals, client brief. That could be something like an audience segment, any type of interest group. So your broader groups. Broad triggers start going down to different kinds of influencers, brand mentions, competitive mentions, podcasts, specific themes or objects around the video content. And then the triggers are keywords, but they're also keywords that are kind of within the metadata of the video environment. So it becomes very granular very quickly because you have this triple layered contextual model helping you target your video campaigns on TikTok.
And what I love about this is that you're able to build strategy decisions using all of this data collected that are going to be relevant to any other partner that you are running with and any other channel that you run with. It's saying competitor mentions, showing up next to competitor mentions, outperform showing up next to influencers. Well, that's seriously something to think about when you're doing your targeting on other platforms as well. So
yeah, that's a good point. Yeah, and it's because we're trying to build out a context-first ad framework here, which means that once you've found a successful framework for your contextual targeting, you can then apply that to YouTube, you can apply it to CTV, because everything at the end of the day comes down to being relevant to the audience. And so here's an example of how a hair care brand could kind of build out a TikTok strategy where we're not just looking at the keyword, we're looking at hair care related context, we're looking at precise targeting lists for hair care, preferences, and then there's also the layer of brand safety. And then you can really start thinking about what is on TikTok that your audience is already watching. You know, is it a product review? Is it beauty prep? Is it more personal kind of hair types? And then you break that through the contextual framework into very, very targeted granular tactics.
And what I love about this is who can't remember when the do I have curly hair trend was all over TikTok during the pandemic, and you know, who could have predicted that that would have been the thing that would be popping up all of a sudden. But then there was thousands of videos posted within probably a number of days that were all about hair care and such. So if you're a hair care brand, if you use contextual targeting, you're able to preempt those trends going viral. And I think virality is something that we talk about a lot, and how it's very unpredictable. It is a complete shot in the dark a lot of the times, and some brands get lucky with, you know, just natural creatives that they're posting on their sites. But with context, you don't have to get lucky. You're just able to show up where these topics are being discussed.
That's awesome. Yeah, that actually, yeah. So I always think of Silver Push in general as helping brands stay on trend.
Yeah.
Just like they're staying in context. Because, and especially with TikTok, things are just moving so fast.
Unbelievable.
The trends are over by like a week or a day or 20 hours, other than the Justin Baldoni thing. But like at this point, you really do need a more sophisticated solution that can detect what's trending and what's relevant to your brand and deliver the videos in real time, because you can't even come up with an ad campaign before the trend is over.
You couldn't you couldn't even get the film equipment out before the next trend is on its way. So it's pretty crazy.
Yeah, exactly. So this is a very interesting way, I think, for brands to reapply and rethink through how their ad strategies are structured based on the fact that we live in this trending economy, you know, and you have to be relevant. But the way to be relevant now is to be on trend, on brand, on context, whatever you want to call it. So yeah, I think to Ali's point, it's just very important, especially on TikTok.
Yeah, and people are so used to shopping on TikTok too, where it's like if you saw an ad and you were interested in the product, you're so familiar with the rhythm that comes with that and going to check out.
Right, it's more of a performance channel too than YouTube for sure. Yeah, that's true. Cool. And so then we got into what we're kind of talking about here. the automation of this is it's going through the Silverpush Campaign Manager. Now, the Silverpush Campaign Manager is set up by those contextual tactics we showed. And with TikTok, we're gathering all the data, the more familiar types of targeting you might see, like on the right side, but then we're structuring it in a way that will apply to our AI, which is then processed dynamically. So you're really getting more precision out of your targeting here, and you're also building a framework that can be reapplied to YouTube or CTV or at the same time. And because it's all running through the Silverpush Campaign Manager, you're going to be able to click one button with that framework and apply it to whatever platform you want, which I think is the most exciting part of the tool.
Yeah. I love this because it gives you the specificity that, say, a cookie's audience might have been able to give you, but the data is relevant, it's new, it's what's happening right now, and it's from TikTok, which is the most relevant source possible.
Yes, exactly. Yeah. Right. And once you've managed to automate all of that, what ends up happening is it flows into the Silverpush Insights dashboard. So you're going to be able to measure context level insights, as well as your traditional creative insights, performance insights, demographics, geography, and everything's in one place. And then you'll be able to measure your YouTube campaign in the same exact format. And if you're using the contextual tactics in the same framework, you're actually going to be comparing what does the audience actually watch? What do they find most relevant? And it's VCR, it's CTR, any of the tactics that are most relevant to you, as well as device. And that's just going to help you understand your audience better, which will inform your creative decisions, your budget decisions. And so it's really just bringing TikTok into the world of context in a brand new way.
And this is so great too, because I mean, think about the question of, what should we sponsor next as a brand? If you're looking at sports versus, say a summer concert series, you can use this data to inform what your audience is most engaged in watching.
Yeah, and you might even uncover some kind of new influencer or somebody that's relevant to your audience and talking about something that's very relevant to your brand. You might even find your brand mentions and the accidental advocate or something like that.
Yeah, right. Which can then inform your personal influencer strategy.
Influencer
it's really
strategies,
endless.
Yeah. Exactly. So it really is just looking at advertising in a whole new way and setting it up from start to finish to minimize the friction and drive better results.